Rapunzel. Once upon a time there lived a man and his wife who for years and years had wanted a child. One day the wife was looking sadly out of the window. Winter was coming, but in the garden next door, which was surrounded by a huge great wall, she could just see rows and rows of delicious vegetables. In particular, she could see a huge bunch of Rapunzel, a special kind of lettuce. Her mouth watered. It looked so fresh and green. "Husband, I shall not rest of some of that Rapunzel growing next door," she whispered. The husband clambered over the wall and quickly picked a small bunch, which he took back to his wife. She made it into a salad and ate it all up, but the next day all she could think of was how delicious it had been, so she asked him to pick her some more. He clambered over the wall and was picking a small bunch of the Rapunzel when a voice behind him hissed, "So you are the one who has been stealing my Rapunzel." When he spun around, there stood a witch and she looked very angry indeed. The husband was terrified, but he tried to explain that his wife had been desperate for some fresh leaves for her salad. "You may take all of the leaves required then, but you must give me your first child when she is born," smiled the witch, and it was not a nice smile. The husband was greatly relieved. However, for he knew that there was little chance of his wife ever having a daughter, so he fled back over the wall, clutching the bunch of Rapunzel. He did not tell his wife of his meeting with the witch, for he thought it would only frighten her, and he soon forgot all about his adventure. But it all came back to him when 9 months later his wife gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. No sooner had she laid the baby in her cradle than the witch appeared to claim the child. The wife wept, the husband pleaded, but nothing could persuade the witch to forget the husband's awful promise, and so she took the tiny baby away. The witch called the baby Rapunzel. She grew into a beautiful girl with long hair as fine as spun gold. When she was 16, the witch took Rapunzel and locked her in a tall tower so no one could see how beautiful she was. The witch threw away the key to the tower, and so whenever she wanted to visit Rapunzel, she would call out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Rapunzel would then throw her golden plait of hair out of the window at the top of the tower so the witch could slowly scramble up. Now one day a handsome young prince was riding through the woods. He heard the witch call out to Rapunzel and he watched her climb up the tower. After the witch had gone, the prince came to the bottom of the tower and he called, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair," and he climbed quickly up the shining golden plate. You can imagine Rapunzel's astonishment when she saw the handsome prince standing in front of her, but she was soon laughing at his stories. When he left, he promised to come again the next day, and he did, and the next, and the next, and soon they had fallen in love with each other. One day, as the witch clambered up to Rapunzel, she exclaimed, "You are slow. The prince doesn't take nearly as long to climb up the tower." But no sooner were the words out of her mouth than she realized a terrible mistake. The witch seized the long golden plate and cut it off. She drove Rapunzel far, far away from the tower, and then sat down to await the prince. When the witch heard him calling, she threw the golden plates out the window. Imagine the prince's dismay when he sprang into the room only to discover the horrible witch instead of his beautiful Rapunzel. When the witch told him he would never see his Rapunzel again, in his grief, he flung himself out of the tower. He fell into some brambles which scratched his eyes so he could no longer see. And thus he wandered the land, always asking if someone had seen his Rapunzel. After 7 long years, he came to the place where she had hidden herself away. As he stumbled down the road, Rapunzel recognized him, and with a great cry of joy, she ran up to him and took him gently by the hand to a little cottage in the woods. As she washed his face, 2 of her tears fell on the prince's eyes, and his sight came back. And so they went back to his palace and lived happily ever after. The witch, you will be pleased to hear, had not been able to get down from the tower, so she did not live happily ever after.